Hi, and welcome back to Beans and Bezels. Microbrands are drawing inspiration from everywhere. Sometimes they even claim to draw inspiration from stuff that is completely unrelated to the watch aesthetic itself. But on many other occasions, they draw inspiration from something interesting and put together a watch design that helps convey that story. The Valhalla Øks is one of those, and I think they've done a great job of combining some Viking and Norse design elements into their watch design. This is not their first watch, and I took a look at some of their older designs that also had some of these Norse design elements. I wasn't sold on those, but I think they really nailed it with this one, and all the design elements came together nicely to form a mostly cohesive visual story. Let's check it out. The base design is a cushion-style case that measures 42mm in diameter, 46mm from lug to lug, and 13.5mm tall. This entirely brushed cushion-style base is then accented with plenty of angular facets, very short lugs, and a bold bezel. I really like the angular case design, and I think it fits the Norse weapon theme quite nicely. There are short lugs that dramatically curve down towards the wrist. I think this is pretty cool, and I don't think I've seen lugs like this before. There's a 120-click unidirectional bezel that is not numbered, but has metal rivets for every 5-minute increment. The rivets are made to resemble a Norse shield, and the black bezel has a red lume tip at the 12 o'clock. The bezel construction in action is solid. It is easy to grip and operate, clicks loud, and has no backplay. From a functionality perspective, I'm not entirely sure why it was needed. I suppose you can still use it to time stuff, but the fact that all the rivets look the same can be a bit confusing. There's a 6.5mm screw-down crown at the 3 o'clock position that has crown guards that fit the angular case design perfectly. The crown is easy to grip and operate, and I didn't notice any crown or stem wobble. The crown is also stamped with the brand's hammer insignia. Flipping it over, you have a simple screw-down case back with the flag of Norway etched into it. This watch is rated for up to 200 meters of water resistance. There are some artificially introduced scratches on the case that I don't much care for. There are 5 of them randomly scattered on the case surface to appear as battle scars. I don't have a problem with artificially weathered watches, but these scratches don't look remotely real, as they're all the same size, too clean, and too uniform. The dial is very interesting with a black and white carbon base. The finishing on this is matte, so there's no reflections or light play, which is a good thing for a material like this. The grain on the carbon is very cool, and it works perfectly with the small red accents on the bezel and seconds hand. There's a black chaptering with white markers. Nothing fancy here, just simple and easy to read, as it should be. You then have oversized rectangular and circular indices for most of the hour markers. These are generously, and I mean very generously, filled with BGW9 superluminova. The finishing is good too. You have an interesting Norse rune symbol instead of a regular hour marker at the 5 o'clock position. After some brief googling, I learned that the symbol R translates to journey and symbolizes work and growth. There is a date window at the 3 o'clock position. It isn't framed but has another Norse rune symbol surrounding it. This translates to day, which is appropriate considering it's a date window. The date wheel is white and has black text. I usually like dial matched date wheels, but this one works to balance the symmetry for the missing white hour index. The hour and minute hands are quite simple. They're made of brushed stainless steel and appear to be reasonably well finished. They're generously loomed, and the simple design works well for an otherwise busy dial. The star of the show is the bright red seconds hand. Apart from the name, there aren't many axe motifs, except for the large axe-shaped counterbalance for the seconds hand. I think this is pretty cool and allows this watch to live up to its name. The seconds hand and minute hands are well proportioned and extend almost all the way to the chaptering. Overall, I like the dial. I think the quality of finishing is quite good for the $300 price tag, and I didn't see anything to complain about. The big swinging red axe will be an acquired taste, but if you like it, I think this is a watch worth considering. The lume layout is simple, but the quality and quantity of lume used is excellent. All the BGW9 loomed elements are very, very bright and hold their charge really well. I think even the most hardcore loom junkies will approve of this watch. Even the 5 o'clock rune symbol is well loomed and looks great. The date window symbol is also generously loomed. Overall, I'm sold on the loom on this watch. Great job here. This watch houses a Seiko NH35 movement, which is more than appropriate given the roughly $300 Kickstarter price. I was seeing roughly minus 10 seconds per day on this watch for the duration that I had it, which is within reasonable range for this movement. The 42mm diameter, 46mm lug-to-lug width, and 13.5mm tall case makes for a substantial yet accessible wrist experience. You don't feel the size of the 42mm diameter because of the almost square-like cushion case shape, and it wore quite nicely on my 6.25-inch wrist. The 13.5mm height is a bit on the tall side, but the very flat case back and lowly seated lug holes help balance the weight nicely. I was pleasantly surprised by this watch. It is very well built and feels like a watch that will last. The design elements are bold, but also give the watch a lot of character. This particular variant makes good use of the red color accents, and I thought the carbon dial was a great addition. For the $300 Kickstarter price, this watch delivers a good amount of value if you like what it looks like. I don't have any complaints about the quality of finishing, and if they market this watch correctly, I think it would be very successful on Kickstarter. Once again, thanks for watching, and don't forget to read the full review in the link below.